I am Jayati Arora and I believe in teens who dare to dream. Trust me when I say this, one step outside your comfort zone can change everything. If you feel unheard, remember, your voice matters. Every teen has the power to lead, including you. This is my story and I hope it gives you the courage to write yours.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Dreamers Teen Talk Show, where we bring you inspiring stories of young changemakers who are redefining leadership, innovation, and personal growth. I'm your host Manju, and today, along with my co-host Gatik, we have a remarkable guest with us. Hi Jayati.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Yes, today we have Jayati Arora, a young leader who has worn many hats. Vice Cultural Captain, Model United Nations Delegate, co-founder of Financial Champion Club, and an advocate for public speaking and leadership. She has also been an active member in NCC, non-profit initiatives, and even writing her first book. Jayati, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Gatik and Manju, ma'am. This opportunity, it's really great, and thank you so much for featuring me. And I am very excited to be a part of this.
So Jayati, you have taken up multiple leadership roles, from being the vice cultural captain to founding initiatives like Financial Champion Club. What are some key leadership lessons you have learned that can help other teens to step into similar roles?
So I think the one of the things that I've learned is that leading by example. Because if you're not leading by example, if you're not doing what you're expecting others to do, then how can you expect them to follow your instructions? Like whether it's being punctual or whether it's following instructions. If you cannot do it yourself, then you cannot expect others to do it for you, right? So that's one thing. And then communication, it's very important, and taking your team's opinion on everything, it's very crucial. Like you cannot just be bossy and you cannot just command people to do whatever you want to. You have to consider everyone's opinions upon that. And you can say that community building as well, because if you have a team who understands you and you have a proper communication system between you, then everything goes smoothly. And if you just be bossy and just command like you own the place, then it isn't going to work out as you planned.
So,
So,
public speaking has played a huge role in your journey, from excelling in Model United Nations to leading as Vice Cultural Captain. Why do you think public speaking is essential for teens today, and how can it help them build confidence, critical thinking, and leadership skills?
so I think public speaking is necessary because, like, expressing one's opinion, one's thought, and having a individual opinion is very important. And if, like, I've seen even many of my friends, they're introverts. They are shy to speak, but I don't understand why is that. Like, if you have an opinion, then why are you being scared of bringing that out? And when you are an adult, like Abhi, we are like right now we're teens, but when we step into adulthood, we cannot rely on our parents forever. We'll have to face the world, and at a particular time, we'll be alone. So, if we do not even have the courage to speak what we want, to have our opinions sorted, then I think it is very troublesome. And it's very necessary to have an open mind about things. And it's not necessary that you must have it as a particular skill. You could have some part of public speaking, and many other children, they are interested in dancing, singing. You can have other hobbies, but I recommend that we must know to how to keep our opinions, not being swayed by what others want. Like many people try to manipulate us, and if you're not able to speak that this is something we do not want, this is something I don't want for myself. If I cannot even speak that for myself, then it can be troublesome for me later, and I might find myself stuck somewhere. So I think it's very important.
So, what's your advice for those who are introverts?
I think that I know that change is hard. Getting out of your comfort zone, it's not at all easy. It's like you would want to stay there forever. It's totally understandable, but I think I think they need to make smaller changes day by day, and try that they can, they are not influenced by others' opinions, and step by step they must, like, you can take very small steps, like when you're going out to restaurants, you can try ordering food yourself rather than expecting your extroverted friend to order for you. And these small changes per day will bring you the confidence you need to survive in this world.
So, why do you think it's important for everyone, including teens or tweens, let's say, that they should have public speaking skills? And what role do parents play in it?
It's just that if parents, I think that parents must give their children a little freedom. One of my friend is there. She lives. She's my neighbor, and her parents do not allow her to open the gate for anyone. So I think, and like communicating with strangers at all. And she's a very introverted person. I think that this should not be the case, because if you do not have that small freedom, it's not a big thing. Parents are at home. You're safe, but if you cannot even go and talk to a stranger, like get the order or anything or pay, I think it is very hard, because at some point that you'll have to live separately. At some point, you might have to go abroad for higher education. And if you cannot even do this little things, like this minute things, then how will you survive all alone? I think it's very important. And I think that parents must do small things to, like, I know it could be scary as parents. You want your child to be protected at all times. You want betterment for your child, and you think that by not giving them freedom, you are making them safer. But it's not exactly this thing all times. It could differ. Like if you do not give them even a little freedom, then they might not be able to survive. They need to learn how to, get things for themselves all alone, because they'll have to at one particular point they'll have to, like a few friends of mine, their parents do not allow them to go or travel by auto. There's this thing in India. I don't think it's there in other nations, but we have a local three-wheeler thing, which local population uses to travel here and there, and it has a very low wage. So, and now currently I'm in 12th. So I've started my 12th grade, and it's really great. If parents are not even allowing them to go like 1 or 2 kilometers on their own, how will they go? How will they travel in college? How will they go anywhere? They'll have that fear in mind that, how can I do this? They'll
Confidence.
always feel scared of doing things. I think that to remove that fear, parents must be there to support their child.
Push them a bit. Push them a bit.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely.
It reminded me of a quote: ships are safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are made for.
Yeah.
Kids will be safe in the home, but what about when they are adults?
Yeah, definitely.
Jayati, I have a question for you. I also have some introverted friends, but they are really unwilling to do such tasks. So, and it's not like their parents are overprotected of them. They are willing to let them go out, but they themselves are unwilling to try it. So, what advice should I give them? Like how they should get improved in that situation?
I think that they're too into their comfort zone, and they just don't want to face that reality. I think that they'll have to be put into some scenarios where they'll be helpless. So they'll have to act upon themselves, because, like, suppose it's a group of introverted friends. So one of them might have to order, right? One of them might have to take the lead. You cannot be just silent in a group, right? So, I have felt this is my ideology, but even introverts, when they are in their group, they do talk. They are not like they have a group and they will talk and they'll be themselves in that group. So I think that their parents need to push them into scenarios where they'll have to be they will be forced to take action by themselves. And again, talking about parents' role, this is where parents come into the play, and force them that you have to do this. Like, for example, if they have to go to tuition, so by not dropping them, or by not providing them a driver, but letting them book a cab and talk to the
Down to
driver, and like very small changes, but it helps a lot. Like one
build
step a day
confidence.
is it counts to 365 steps per year. So that ideology.
So, Karthik, now you know you have to push your friend. We'll do things for him.
I'm trying my best.
Jayati, you have participated in MUN conferences, which require strong communication skills. How has
Definitely.
this model UN shaped your perspective on global issues?
It has definitely contributed a lot, and even having, I did not have this kind of strong communication skills when I started participating in MUNs. This confidence in myself that I was able to have such strong communication skills, and I was able to speak up for what I felt was right. Speaking about the global issues, whenever we got an agenda in MUN conferences, we had to research about it a lot, because like crafting speeches, it was not that easy. I mean, AI is always there, but AI will not help you win, right? So it wouldn't have that original idea, original creativity. I think that AI even stops your creativity skills, because if you use AI for everything, then you're not using your own brain, right? So I had to research a lot, and that too, they had that thing that we cannot research from Wikipedia, because sometimes it contains false information about things. So we had to use the official records, the UN records and national records for the countries, which was, for some countries it was not easy to find, and it was a very big challenge. I had to watch even media coverage for like from the YouTube channels of ANB and Aaj and all the national
Channels.
to get details about a particular thing. So it definitely contributes to the awareness of the national and international awareness, because even to ask other delegates of different countries, you need research for that also. And I used to prepare that also from home when before going to the competition, before going to the conference. I used to research news articles and negative things to just attack my enemy country. So we had to do all of that, and we couldn't even just go for one person. We had to like research about at least 5 to 10 countries. So I think it helps you in a lot of ways, like not just your research skills, not just your public speaking, but your awareness, global awareness, and other things as well, politics and many things, definitely. So yeah, that's what I think.
So, Jayati, for all those who are watching you today, they might get inspired by watching you. So, if they are willing to participate in MUN debates, what steps should they take in order to get to that level?
I think it's by exposure. Like, suppose I am a newbie and this is my first MUN. So what I will find strange is that if anyone explains you the ROPs, like the rules of procedures, I will not be able to understand. It's very typical, unless until and unless you attend one MU and see for yourself actually how it occurs. It's like you will not be able to understand, because they'll say fancy words like moderate caucuses, unmoderated caucuses, and for the person who is doing it for the first time, that person will be confused. And when they see how it actually goes, the roll call and everything, they'll be able to understand. So I say that without thinking much, even if you do not have much research or anything, first of all just enroll for your MUN. And suppose you live in a part of India or any other nation where they do not have MUN culture, many online MUNs are there. And recently I also heard about an MUN which was like a night MUN. So instead of a day, it would be run throughout the night. So there are many different cultures coming, and so even if MUN culture is not there in your country or where you live in, you could enroll in an online MUN. Although offline MUN are the best, and you learn a lot of things like diplomacy, and there was this MUN I attended in 2024 where it was like I manipulated them that much that only by my signs I could tell them that don't go for this and don't go for that. It was such a great feeling to be leading a group and manipulating their opinions and decisions. I think this is also a skill, and it feels really great that I could achieve that. And even a small fight or something occurred, and everyone was with me, and then it was just everyone against that. Matlab, like everyone was with me against that one person who was against me. So it was like that, and it was really great.
Okay,
MUN.
MUN culture.
my actual question was that, like, watching you and hearing you, I also feel like to join the MUN. So, can you tell me such websites or any such ways where I can possibly join MUN and any such platforms where I can get such exposure? You know?
The easiest way I would tell you is there are many promotion groups, but many people are not part of it. At least thousands are in every group, but okay. The easiest way is Instagram. Search upon MUNs. There are many MUNs which are coming, and even I'm the Secretary General of an MUN, and I'm even a co-founder of an
Wow.
MUN. You can enroll through searching on Instagram MUNs. There are many MUNs coming up. In their bio, they have a link tree or a registration form. You can go register for it after researching about the immune, of course. Like if you like it, there are many immunes, so you have like plenty of options to choose from. Especially here in India, it's like the culture is becoming vast, and they are like they're mainly doing it for profit, but they always give you a great exposure. There are many cash prizes, so that is an incentive for someone who wants to earn. I do not say that you'll win in your first go. I did not. It will take time and effort, but you will eventually. It's like uh, for every MUN, like in India especially, even online MUNs, they follow like they speak in English, so you don't have to worry if you're even living in an abroad country or anything. And ROPs, the rules of procedures, are always explained, even if there's even one first timer. So there's nothing to worry about. Even before the MUN, they conduct training sessions for the people who are not knowing about this culture much, or they do not know the ROPs or how to research. You can ask any question or whatever questions you have regarding to the same, and they'll solve it. Usually MUNs, they have a highly experienced executive board, who have like in fact I competed with people who have like 150 plus MUN experiences, and I do not have that kind of experience. I do not have over 20. And so I would just say that and I won in that committee, by the way, where I had these many experiences.
Congratulations.
You have to observe what tactics they are using and implement them.
Jayati, another significant part of your journey is NCC. How did NCC shape your discipline and resilience? And what lesson can young students take from such programs?
I think that school, first of all, school plays a very important part. And when I heard about NCC and the perks it had, in the starting, the perks excited me. But eventually, the training programs and all of that built my personality. They had a compulsory training program where they teach us weapon training, map reading, and many other things. So it adds on to our knowledge, and it's not
That's true.
something school would teach us. So it really adds on to your knowledge. I've been awarded a diligent cadet in NCC
Hmm.
once, and I've also received my A certificate for NCC. It not only helps you academically or physically or mentally, but it also helps you in other extracurriculars. Like there are competitions on district level and national level, and I mean, going from this
Yeah.
smaller part, like the state level, then district level, then national level, and all of that stuff.
Like well-rounded personality creation.
Thank you
Your
so much.
work, you have
Agreed.
also worked with non-profit organizations.
Yeah.
That honestly shows a deep commitment of creating a real change. What inspired this passion? And how can
Yeah.
people like Gatik get involved in this meaningful community service?
The thing is, my friends, a few of them, were involved in this, and I got inspired by them. In India, they say that Sangati matters. The people who you're with, it really matters. I saw her profile and I saw how she was involved in non-profit organizations. And I created a LinkedIn profile. That's when I created a LinkedIn profile, and I started messaging the non-profit organizations. I messaged them from inquiry that if they had any internship inquiry opportunities for me, because I knew that my parents wouldn't let me start an NGO or NPO at this stage. So I just thought that I might as well associate myself with it. Yeah, and then I got into many roles, like Humani Tech is there, where I got as a communication and HR executive. And then right now I'm in the Dot Streams lab. It's a technological lab where I'm their chief human resources officer,
Wow.
uh, CHRO. Yes, really proud of that as well. and even a few more clubs and everything.
Jayati, I'm really so proud of you. You're doing so much and you're still 17. You're very
Yeah,
inspiring.
So, Jayati, you chose commerce with mathematics.
yeah.
What led you to this decision, and how do you think it has benefited you?
My parents are chartered accountants. I've always heard conversations about taxes, auditing, money, financial education, literacy, mathematics. I've always loved it since it was a subject. It's really important as well for even personality developing, like problem solving and strategic thinking, and all of this is very important. And also to keep my mind sharp, have a brainstorming.
So you think maths is going to help you in your commercial studies also?
Yeah, definitely. I do not plan to go into chartered accountancy. I want to do something different. That is CFA.
See, on a personal note, Gatik is currently in class 12th and he is a commerce student and he is kind of in a fixing situation where he has to take a call whether he should take math or not. And honestly, he does not love math. He loves economics more, but his parents want him to take math, but he doesn't now know that should he take math or should he take economics.
I
So
think, first of all, you must be clear with what you want to do after your 12th. If you know that, like for some people who want to do CA, you do not need maths as a subject if you want to do that, or a program that does not require maths, because CA Foundation has maths, other CA Intermediate or CA Finance do not. And CA Foundation is has just 10th grade basics of maths, which you could even do after your 12th. Like you could take a book, you could buy it or you could borrow it, and you can have a tutor guide you or something, or you could have your teachers guide you. It's not at all hard. You will be able to manage it. But if you need something, if you want to do something where maths could be an asset to you, where maths could help you, or where maths is required, then of course I would recommend you to take maths, even if you do not want to.
I think you got your answer.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you, Jayati. Jayati, you have also created a financial champion club, which is a very important initiative. And you believe that every teen should have a financial literacy to take the control of their lives. Can you tell us, like, what's the purpose and how do you intend to do that?
So actually, Financial Champion Club is something what my me and my father founded together. It's like we used to always talk about it, and it's mainly focusing upon the SMEs in India to improve, to help them improve themselves and avoid those mistakes which are very common in India for the SMEs. But for the teens part, I actually have this plan that in 2026 I am going to found a non-profit of my own, where it would be just for the financial literacy for the underprivileged people. Because I mean, I want to make real impact, and rather than just creating videos on YouTube, which normally everyone does, I want to go out there. I want to make real change. I want to actually make a change, because when you see a smile on those underprivileged children who could have a better life for themselves, it's such a great feeling. I mean, from my heart, it just feels so good. So I want to go out there. We'll be going for drives. We'll have a proper non-profit organization set up, and then we'll have a proper team, and we will go into slum areas in Delhi NCR, and we'll be teaching them about the financial literacy basics. Even poor people or richer people, whatever income group you belong to, whatever stream you have,
Everybody.
I believe that if you do not even know how to manage your money, then you are going to mess it up. Because I think even if you're from science, humanities, or arts, you must know how to manage that money, because at the end of the day, we are using money as a medium of exchange. And I've also thought that I would be founding an MUN in 2026 or 2027 as well. Always now, there's in the underprivileged, there are a few children who have a voice, but they do not have the platform to speak. So I've thought that when I have my own MUN, that I would bear their cost, at least 20 I plan to. I would fund them to be there in my MUN. There's Lok Sabha or AIPPM. It's like Indian politics. where they'll get to represent a politician, and they have to behave that like that politician, like they have to keep their opinions as that politician would be. But they get a chance to choose the politician they want to represent. At least they
Let's say
have.
you want to represent Foreign Minister of India, so you pretend to be Jai Shankar and you talk like that.
Just this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and they also get a chance to win because there are cash prizes. The fees is usually 2,000 for committees, but they usually lower it a little bit when the conference is near.
So I'm 100% sure you will do it. You
Yeah,
will do it. Your heart set on it. The vision is absolutely clear.
It's
definitely.
truly commendable.
In 2022 to 2023, that batch, I wrote exams for autistic girls. I wrote it as her scribe. It made me study a little bit, but majorly it was me asking her. So it was really hard getting that information out of her. But when the results came out, so she got 99 in fine arts in
Wow.
boards, and she passed with over 80 percentage. So it was so good. I mean,
So satisfying.
yeah, definitely. And she does not even have her father. Like her father passed away in COVID. It was a great opportunity.
You have worked with multiple organizations like Healing Up and Human Tech. How did these experiences shape your leadership skills?
My first interview was taken by 5 teachers and my principal ma'am. So I messed it up. Gradually, I have learned how to give interviews. Gradually, I've learned how to speak without being frightened and without having that hesitance in my mind and in myself. So, because of these internships, I have gained actually a lot of experience on how to build a team and how to make them get the task done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Efficient.
Important. How to
And
get the
now
task
I'm
done.
applying this in my other organizations, all as well as the MUNs I'm part of, like where I'm the secretary general and where I'm the co-founder. So they reached 928 followers today, and then I built this ecosystem.
So you are
So
taking ownership of the task.
yeah, I allot them. In fact, now I don't even have to allot them.
You're learning to
Definitely.
delegate.
Yeah, I don't have to do much work, so I can also focus upon my academics. And what we do is we do not give much task. It's like what we do is like you have to get 4 followers in 2 days. You have to get 5 followers maximum. So now if we have a team of 40, they have to get followers, right? So we can get 200 followers in 2 days if they actually do it. If everyone gets 5 followers and it's a team of 40, then you get 200 followers in 2 days. And we did not even give for 5. We used to give for 4 followers, 2 followers, and we did it repeatedly. So, and multiple of times they used to get even more followers, not just if I gave the target of 4, they got usually 6 or 7 or something. So it contributed a lot. Initially, I used to do it.
Succeeded.
Now I give responsibility to others. And I think it's not a very
Boundary.
big task. So it's like one of the minutest details that I'm telling you. But it's like that you just have to share it to the other people. You just have to share the link, and you just have to ask your friends to follow and send a screenshot. You just don't, doesn't even take 2 minutes to share. So I give tasks which does not take much time, and also through that our Instagram page is growing. Right now our focus is on Instagram, and then it would be on delegates. So it's like that. So yeah, I guess I'm yapping a lot.
No, 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 no. It's very
It's all
important.
very relevant and important.
So, what do you think makes a good leader, and how can teens develop leadership skills at a very young age?
You must first of all understand your team. You must put yourself in their shoes. You have to see that from their perspective as well. Like in my team, their obligations are towards academics and, of course, the MUN or the other commitments as well. So I have to understand that I don't have to overwhelm them. So only formal meetings are conducted, informal are there, and through that we do team building. You cannot be controlling.
All the time.
You have to be their friend. No one likes to be around bossy people. Even I wouldn't. They want a friendly leader who understands them and who doesn't overwhelm them. So you have to take everything into consideration, and you have to understand their reasons as well, understand them as well. I think it's the most important thing.
Thank you so much, Jayati. Now we have a rapid fire round.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm
In the
excited.
rapid fire round, yes, do not think, just speak whatever comes to your mind. So, Gatik, are we ready?
Yes, definitely. So, what's one book you think every teen should read?
So here are a few books that I would recommend you to read. One of them is the Warren Buffett's Management Secret. Then we have John Maxwell's Your Roadmap to Success. And we also have The Secret Millionaire Blueprint.
If you could have lunch with any historical leader, who will it be?
Albert Einstein.
Describe yourself in one word.
I'm confident.
So, what's the hidden talent that you have?
I sold my first design template today. I received my first income. So for the hidden talent, I would say graphic design.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do?
I would invest it. That's what I would say.
So, you would invest a part of it. What would you do with the rest?
It's just that I've thought that I would invest, I would buy assets, I would have a really big home, and all of the fantasies a kid has, a teen has, all those. But
And what would you do if you knew that you would never fail?
startup, invest into businesses and all of that. Grow my money.
So, Jayati, this has been an incredibly insightful conversation. Your journey is truly inspiring, and I'm sure so many teens watching this will learn a lot from your experiences.
Thank you so much. I would be glad.
Thank you so much, Jayati, for joining us. We loved having you, and I'm sure this conversation will inspire many young minds out there. So, to our
And
audiences, if you found this conversation valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep following Dream and Teen Talk Show for more inspiring stories and more change makers like Jayati Arora.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jayati. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Have a nice day.